Hello to my family, the metalheads, and let's get straight into this video. Okay, so this is gonna be like what I would mention in my last update video. It's like where I was talking about how I would put out a video, but not really like edit it too well, but it would still just come out more in a timely fashion, so that way I can make the video, then get it out on the same day. This is gonna be the first one. So this is gonna be more on the topic of My Hero with the newest episode. And I would say that My Hero really has like stepped up in a sense, because it's like My Hero has always been to me one of my favorite animes, just because I'm kind of still like growing up with My Hero, like I said on one of my previous videos about Kimetsu no Yaiba. I said that it's my favorite anime, I feel, because I have the chance to grow up with it. Same thing with Attack on Titan. All those animes, I feel like if I were to grow up with Naruto, or how I did with Dragon Ball, I feel like Naruto probably would have been my favorite animes as well. But My Hero is on my like top 10 anime list. So My Hero, to other people though, like to some of the older anime fans, they don't consider it to be one of the greats, and it really isn't. I would say, like, I wouldn't say it's top 10 anime of all time, because you have shows like Yu Yu Hakusho, all these animes that came out long ago that I still haven't watched, that could and most likely are better than My Hero. But when I say My Hero has stepped up, I mean as where My Hero is with this recent episode. Well, let me talk about the rest of the other seasons. I would say that most of the reasons why My Hero could be considered like top 150 episode animes, is mostly because of its animation and quality compared to, like the older animes that came out in like the 90s and things like that. But with this, of course, the animation is going to be better, but I feel like that's what put it up in terms of animes, because the writing, like it was cliche. I still liked it, but all these things. But with this recent episode, it pretty much like explained that it doesn't really. Well, the animation was still really good, but with this episode, it was better in my opinion. I wouldn't say it was the best off the top, because I don't want to make that bold claim, but to me, for right now, it's my most memorable episode, and of course it would be because it's the most recent episode. But not right now, this is my favorite moment, and the reason why is because this episode and this whole season, I may add, is like it's a huge tone twist, because from the very beginning of My Hero to even past like the Stain arc, and when the League of Villains infiltrated not My Hero, UA, it was still, I ain't gonna say cupcakes and rainbows, but it was still like, it wasn't this dark of a tone. It was like Marvel and DC in comparison. This season being DC, everything about this season is dark, and it would give it like the chance to be more on a serious topic, like shows like Naruto and Yu Yu Hakusho, where they're killing off people left and right, or well, not as dark as Attack on Titan, but yeah, it will still give it more of a serious like impact, because I think that having a darker like tone in an anime just gives it a more broader audience, because still brings in like the younger audience because of the cartoonish animation, but it brings in more of an adult audience who like the better storytelling and the darker aspects of the show, because like with Overhaul's transformation. Overhaul is pretty much my favorite character from My Hero after like this season so far. I already knew he was gonna be one of my favorite characters, my favorite villain from his design before I even seen him. But with this newer, what's the word, details, or I'm just saying information, 'cause, for lack of a better word. But with this new transformation, with the breakdown of his power, with his insanity, basically, it just gives me, I just love him as a character so far. And then his transformation, the whole time I was watching the episode, I'm like, so he's getting a Resident Evil transformation now. He's developing zombie parts. Well, it's not really zombie parts, but I'm gonna say it's zombie parts. Like how his body would like he decomposed his body in order to make a whole like bigger limb and things like that. The storytelling, or like how people would say like the emotional scenes weren't there. I felt the emotional scenes in this whole fight. Like in the beginning of the episode where Deku was rushing, the overhaul was raising up the platform, right, to leave area, and then he had to go to the 100% overall, or not overall, one for all. He was going to 100% one for all, and then how Avery was not really debating, but she was coming to a conclusion of how she would jump off of the platform to allow Deku to help her. It all came together so beautifully, especially with the music that they chose. Like that's something that I rarely notice in animes. I rarely notice like the music that they choose, because I'm like, okay, it's just normal music. Usually My Hero uses that same, like, if you know My Hero, you pretty much know that music. The soundtrack, I don't really know the soundtrack, because I don't really like go in and type into the OSTs like, what was this soundtrack, or something like that, unless I just I pretty much just particularly liked it. But that one, I hear it so much that it kind of gets played out to me. So this newer like music, I don't know if they've used it before, but to me, because I watched the sub this time. I don't know why I keep watching it in dub, because this was better. No shocker, the sub is better than dub, but I still prefer to watch animes in dub just so I can do other things while I'm watching the episode. But since I didn't really feel like waiting, I watched it in sub, and it sounded better. And plus, I heard the music better because I was paying attention to the episode more. If that makes any kind of sense. But it's like they played more sadder music, or more, I can't even display what feeling I got from it, but they played a different style of music, and it conveyed something completely different than just playing the same old plus ultra song. Like the song that they usually play, it makes you feel more inspired and hyped, but this one, it kind of like soothed you and calmed you down so you could actually like enjoy what was coming. Everything in this episode fit together so perfectly, in my opinion. It might be the best episode. I'm gonna make that bold claim right now. Like, let me just skim over this few seasons real quick. Like, no, nothing from. I didn't really enjoy the first season like that. The second season, I mean, it had the best fights, but the best episodes, I don't know. See, the one when I was watching this episode, what I was debating might come close and might even beat it, would probably be one of the episodes where they were trying to get their hero licenses. I just liked the moments in it, but with this episode, I liked every single thing about this episode. And this is probably my favorite episode because, first off, we get backstory on on Kai Chisaki. Why am I saying this? We get backstory on Overhaul. And his backstory is basically like he was someone who didn't have anything. Well, we got backstory on previous episodes as well. We already knew somewhere in the general like aspect. If you read the manga, I don't. But if you read the manga, you pretty much know as well. But we got backstory on how he is essentially the reason why his boss is in the coma. I pretty much guessed that, but the way he would act around him too, I started to second guess it. But I should never have second guessed myself. We learned how he basically started, like, we basically found out why she has those bandages everywhere, and it was from him, like, doing research on her. Like, this gives a whole, like, the other aspect or another layer to how demonic and how how demonic Overhaul is. And I feel like in terms of a villain, you shouldn't have to like whatever action they take. Like, if someone gets mad at a villain, at somebody for writing a villain to do very demonic things, don't get mad at the writer. That's the whole job of a villain, is for them to be a very demented person. So the fact that he's doing this and it's not real, I can actually enjoy it. It feels real life. Of course, I wouldn't be supporting this, but this isn't real life, is it? No, it's not. So I have the ability to like this thing, and it's it just does wonders for his entire character development. And really, my favorite things about this episode comes from Overhaul. But in terms of Deku, let's talk about Deku as well. Deku, he notices that, oh, I did one for all and my legs didn't break, so maybe I should just do it again. That's a smart decision. It's just me breaking it down, because that's just making me summarizing it. But really, he was like, okay, so Eri can heal me, so let me just go ahead and do one for all real quick, at 100% easy. But how also another moment from Overhaul, he's like, you don't know how to appreciate Eri's full potential. And it's just so many layers to this episode that I just love. And I think this is a season finale. I really wish this fight and this episode, it will go on for another episode, but my wish won't be granted if it is a season finale. But everything about this episode, I just loved about it. It's like, one night he was like, oh, I'm wrong with my prediction. Ochako was trying to help. Oh yeah, the beginning of the episode also kind of had me confused at first, until I was like, oh yeah, this Toga portraying as Deku. So, but yeah, what night I did, Ochako, Uraraka, whatever you want to call it, when she was like rushing towards Deku, but then she couldn't move, but then she would still try to get up, and she still contributed to the winning of this battle. Like, the subliminal things that my hero actually does all the time just came together to work with these new things that I just now noticed, if it was around for a long time, and if it is new, I still just noticed it. They all mesh together so well to where this episode is most likely my favorite episode of the anime. Also, follow my Instagram, MetalForever526. METALFOREVER 526. I'm spelling it out like you can't spell yourselves, but just so you can know. Well, that was it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, after each video, I'll put some interesting battle or whatever in the discussion tab of YouTube, and I would appreciate it if you would check it out. And remember, once you join the family, to me, you will forever be Metal Forever.